Hi and welcome to Vulkan from Zero to Hero.
In this section, we are going to debug GPU. In this video, we are going to enable Vulkan validation layer. Hello there. Welcome to the third section of hands-off graphics programming with Vulkan API. Until now, we've learned how to draw our first triangle. In this section, we are going to learn how to debug our Vulkan code and use GPU diagnostic tools like RenderDoc to find out what's happening in GPU. Let's go to the graphics device.cpp. Here, before creating Vulkan instance, we should add validation layer. It's better to add a preprocessor for it. Let's call it debug_GPU. Now here, if debug GPU preprocessor is defined, then our program should add validation layer. This validation layer might not work with Molten VK. Okay, just add vk_ext_debug_report_extension_name to enable extensions, and before calling vk create instance, let's add the following validation layer names. Vulkan layer LoNRG standard validation. For Android, add Vulkan layer Google threading, Vulkan layer Google unique objects, Vulkan layer LoNRG parameter validation, core validation, object tracker, and swap chain. Now we should declare our debug callback functions. Let's define them here. These functions are create and destroy debug report callbacks, and the third one is debug report message. We will declare them as a static function, and also we need to define debug message callback as the following. Based on the value of debug report flag ext, we should print out the relative message to the output. If you want the function returns vk error validation failed ext, then here return vk underline true. And this results in function calling's abortion. So just return vk underline false instead of vk underline true, because we don't need to abort function call. Now get back here. Let's assign our callbacks and now call s create debug reporter callback ext, where the first parameter should be a Vulkan instance, the next parameter should be a debug create info. We can skip third parameter, and the final parameter can be our s message callback. Now build your project and let's debug our code. Let's go to the scene.cpp and add a breakpoint after calling pipeline.load. Let's change our code, remove viewport from parameters in order to force the application to throw an error. Don't forget to add another breakpoint inside the callback function. We can read what's happening in console if Vulkan error happens, and how validation layer works during this situation. Now, as you can see, right after calling pipeline.load, Vulkan debug callback function is called, and from here you can find out what is the error. It is something related to VK create graphics pipeline. It says p viewport state of first element of array is equal to 0. This error means we forgot to set viewport for our pipeline. And that's correct. That's the problem. Let's revert our code and let's run it again. And here is another error. It looks like S type of pipeline layout create info was not correct. This type should be VK structure type pipeline layout create info, not pipeline cache. See, validation layer is so helpful. Okay, let's correct it and run it again. And this time, as you can see, everything is fine and our program is running successfully. In the next video, we are going to debug GPU via render doc.